every spoken word, what your soul has longed for, what your heart can feel is already here, is already real.
There is no one out there, there is no one else. You hold all the answers deep inside of yourself. There's a voice that whispers, there's no you, no me. There's just one, there's just unity.
One power, one presence, one light to lead the way. All loving, all knowing, that answers when you pray.
When the world looks darkest and your eyes can see, gather all your troubles, give them all to me. I am always with you, I will always be. I am one, I am unity. We are one, we are unity.
Good morning and welcome to Unity of Ventura's online Sunday service. My name is Sherry Lieberg. I'm your hostess this morning. I extend a great thanks to each of you for following the call of your heart to join us today. Your presence and your consciousness are so important. Let's take a moment now to remember who we are and why we come together in one mind, one heart, and one consciousness. We do so in order to promote and experience a higher consciousness. And when we do this, spiritual magic happens. So please know that we do appreciate you joining us. At Unity of Ventura, we teach and we practice the principles of unity as taught by our co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. Grounded in those practices and those teachings, we welcome people of all backgrounds, all religious trainings, all beliefs, all lifestyles, all philosophies, all ways of thinking. And that is why we are called Unity. Let's take a moment now to enter into prayer. Let's go into our hearts to that place where God indwells you. Sweet Spirit, we just take this moment to rest in your presence, in your love, and your peace. We thank you in advance for the wisdom that we receive in this sermon and service, for the inspiration of the music, and for the heartfelt love of our community. And now we take a moment to minister to one another by extending a blessing to those present today or those watching later, to our community, and to our entire world. We affirm that peace and prosperity are available to every person in this universe, and that they easily align with each of these infinite blessings. And so it is. Amen. We continue now with the reading of the daily word, remembering that we are united with millions of readers of the daily word all over the world. Today's word comes to us from April 3rd, 1984. The word for today is prosperity. The affirmation for today is, "It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I now accept my good." I now accept the truth that God has made abundant provision for me, and that it is His good pleasure to give me the kingdom. The kingdom includes fulfillment, happiness, safety, serenity, all the things that give my life purpose, beauty, and vibrancy. I no longer believe only in bits and pieces or now and then can I experience the good that God has for me. So I say yes to the gift of the kingdom which God has generously given to me. Yes, God, I accept your gift of serenity. Peace fills my soul, and I know that all is well. Yes, God, I accept your gift of safety. I am safe and secure wherever I go. Yes, God, I accept your gift of love. I feel your unqualified, unconditional acceptance of me as your beloved child. Yes, God, I accept the kingdom of good which you are giving me now. Today's daily word was inspired by Luke chapter 12, verse 32, which says, "Fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." The word for today is prosperity. The phrase for today is, "It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. I accept my good now." So it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God.
Morning sun coming through the trees, the green leaves shimmer in the summer breeze, the songbirds singing to the honeybees, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. The stars come twinkling one by one.
Living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God.
We sleep in dreams, both deep and bright, sailing through the velvet night, refreshing the soul to the spirit's delight.
Living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten.
Please join me now in affirming our statement of truth. I'll say it once, then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the Good. Let's say that together from the heart. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the Good. And now let's prepare for a time of quiet contemplation and meditation, reconnecting with our source within. I invite you to find a comfortable position. If it feels natural, close your eyes. And as you hear my words, allow them to be your own. These are my truths. I acknowledge God as the one source of all prosperity, all abundance, and I am blessed. I am an open and receptive channel for the inflow of abundant prosperity. I stand firm in the faith that I am one with my source of good, God. I am a spiritual being, receptive to God's rich ideas. I am bountifully prospered. Steadfastly trusting God, I am guided. I am prospered. I am blessed with God's abundance. So for a moment, rest in the abundance of God and allow yourself to be prospered and blessed by God's unconditional love. Oh, sweet Spirit, thank you for this opportunity to rest in your presence. Thank you for the reminder of truth that you indeed are our unfailing source of all good. It's time now to bring your awareness back to this time and place, feeling refreshed and renewed and realigned with the goodness of God that is within you. As we affirm, so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And now it is my delight to introduce our guest speaker today, Reverend Christine Pena. Christine reminded me that she first came to give us lessons on Mother's Day in 2019. 2 years and a chunk of change, and oh, look at all that's happened. Christine is a master practitioner and minister at the Agape International Spiritual Center in Beverly Hills, California. She serves on the pulpit. She facilitates classes, and you can find her hosting the Agape Facebook page for 8 a.m. prayer and for noon meditation every other Mindful Monday.
So greetings and welcome, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Ventura. Thank you, Sherry, for your introduction. And it's great to be back with you all. I'm so glad to be here. And let's talk about prosperity, shall we? So my topic today is prosperity hot off the press. And first of all, you have to be of the age where you even know what hot off the press means. We don't have newspapers as much as we used to anymore. They're still there, but the expression hot off the press referred to when a breaking story happened. What would happen was they would rush to the printers, and they would rush to the newspaper press, and they would print it. And because it was such a breaking story, it was so hot, the papers would actually be warm to the touch. So what I'm hoping is that we are going to get something that's hot off the press and fresh for you this day, like some warm bread being straight out of the oven. Prosperity hot off the press straight to you. So that's my goal for today. So we can also refer to this as prosperity as prayer, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I know that a lot of us have, I know I am a student of prosperity. I don't claim to be an expert, but I am a student. And as such, I am always taking workshops. I'm always listening to talks. I'm always stepping into those waters of prosperity, to get my feet wet, to find out what's new. So today, because we are a new thought movement, unity is in the new thought movement, let's have a new thought about prosperity. Let's have a new realization about what prosperity is, what it means to us, how we can refresh ourselves on the topic and recognize prosperity as our lives. So we're going to talk about, first of all, prosperity with a small p, and then prosperity with a big P. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, prosperity with a small p, I think of as being personal prosperity, your consideration of your own financial status. Generally, I think about it as being money. I think about it as being the sort of day-to-day concerns of prosperity, wanting to have a good income, wanting to save for retirement, wanting to pay for your kids to go to college, and the day-to-day concerns about making enough, having enough, being enough, and that sort of limited, narrow focus on prosperity. And that's prosperity with a small p, being concerned with your bank account, being concerned with paying your bills. That's sort of the human side of prosperity. And prosperity with a big P is the inherent prosperity of God. The prosperity that God wants you to have. And, you know, as it says in Luke 12, verse 32, it's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. It's God's good pleasure to release all that Spirit has in store for us as part of our prosperity process. So we want to embrace prosperity with a big P for this talk. And that includes abundance. That includes looking beyond just financial prosperity. It means recognizing in nature how prosperous nature is and how abundant nature is. And at one point when I was going to a class on prosperity, they said, you know, go out on the beach and look around at the sand on the beach and recognize that, you know, there's no abundance, there's no lack and limitation in nature. There's no realization that there's only this much water in the ocean. No, there's a huge ocean full of water. And sand doesn't really do it for me. But I sort of had a realization of prosperity when I went into my old backyard, and I had this amazing orange tree in my backyard that's been there as long as I've been in this house. And it's, you know, it was planted when the house was planted. I think this area was orange orchards, and they just left one of the trees here and built a house around it. That's what it kind of looks like. So it's a really old tree. And one year, I came out to my backyard and I went over to my little orange tree, and it was exploding with oranges. There were so many oranges on the tree, so many that I couldn't eat all of them, and I couldn't pick all of them, and I couldn't count all of them. So when I think of what does abundance and prosperity mean, I think about my orange tree. I think about the abundance in nature that is available there for the picking, ripe for the picking, hot off the press, ripe for the picking for us. So that's what I think of when I think of prosperity and abundance. I think of all that is new and fresh and available to us as the presence of God, as the presence of prosperity in our lives. So we'll also talk about prosperity as prayer. And I'm going to give you some things we're going to talk about things that we need to release. And we're going to talk about things that we can embrace and tools that we can use to embrace our personal prosperity with a big P, but personal prosperity for ourselves, recognizing that there is this activity of prayer that is sort of analogous with the principle of prosperity. And you can also use prayer as a tool to increase your prosperity and to wake yourself up to the abundance of the universe. So let's first talk about release. Let's talk about what we want to release. So this may be a little different than things that you've heard before, but the things that I've sort of become aware of is one of the big key pieces of prosperity that I was sort of missing. I was reading about, I did a number of different, like I said, workshops, and I love the John Randolph Price book. It's called The Little Abundance Book. It's a little green book, and it's a 40-day program where you sit with affirmations every day and you meditate on the affirmations. And but the thing that was like a missing ingredient for me was self-worth. We can't really embrace prosperity without up-leveling our sense of self-worth. In other words, to experience prosperity and experience the kind of prosperity that we wish to experience, and the realization to open our mental equivalent, we have to feel that we're worthy of that which we are looking to embrace, that which we are looking to embody. And Reverend Michael always talks about, Michael Beckwith is the founder of the Agape movement, and he always talks about that consciousness, that form follows consciousness. So in other words, you don't build a building without having a blueprint first. So your consciousness has to expand before you need to become that which you are seeking before you can fully embody it. You need to become it first before you can see it in form, in demonstration in your life. So we have to become a vibrational match to that which we are seeking. So there are things that we can release to order to up-level our sense of self-worth. And one of the first things I want to talk about is, how do we talk about ourselves? And with other people, but also what is our self-talk like? How are we thinking about ourselves? What are we saying to ourselves? And that's sort of a good reflection of what our self-worth is in this moment in time. When we talk about ourselves, are we saying, do we look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm so old and fat, or, I'm so dumb. Sometimes you'll trip over something and you will say, I'm so clumsy. And, as we know, affirmations are a powerful tool for changing our minds about how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive the world. So we want to take a look at, what are we saying about ourselves, to ourselves and to others? When we trip over something, do we say, of course that happens to me, I'm always so clumsy? Or do we say, of course I didn't get that raise. It figures I wouldn't get that raise. So we want to be really mindful about how we're talking about ourselves. We want to be really mindful about the mind clutter that we have. And we also want to be very aware of actual physical clutter in our homes. And clutter sort of represents blockages, stuck energy in our house. So I think of self-talk, and I think about the things that we say about ourselves as the mental clutter. And I think about the things that are in our home that no longer serve us. So what we know is, when I pray, I say, I release that which no longer serves, that which is no longer in my highest and best interest. It may have served me at one time, but just like cleaning out your closet, you're releasing the things that no longer fit. So you're doing that. You're mentally cleaning your mental closet, and you're also cleaning your home of physical clutter. In the ancient Chinese art of feng shui is about the flow of energy through our homes. So we want to think about these things. We want to think about how energy is flowing through our home, and how can we free up the space to allow more of that good energy that we're wishing to attract to flow into our lives and into our homes. So think about that. Think about releasing. Be mindful about how you're talking about yourself, and also be mindful of physical clutter in your physical environment. So go home and clean out your closet today and release all that. And, the other thing is, as you're releasing things that no longer serve you, there are people who would love to receive what you're giving away. There are people that would be delighted with. I have a number of suits that are too big for me, and business suits. And I don't generally wear business suits a whole lot of the time. I'm a little bit casual. And especially now, since the pandemic, we often don't have to wear formal clothing or high heels or any of that stuff. And we can let it go because there's somebody who would love to embrace what we're releasing. So those are just some things that we can release. Now, let's talk about some practices that will support us in embracing that which we wish to embody, that which we wish to invite in to our energetic. And I'm going to talk about prosperity as prayer. Now, in Science of Mind and Religious Science, and now it's Centers for Spiritual Living, they have a 5-stage process of prayer. And in the Agape movement, we added a 6th stage, and the 6th stage is at the beginning, and it's gratitude. So when we become ready to pray, what we do is we center down in gratitude. So let me just tell you what the 6 steps of prayer are that I'm going to sort of use as containers for the next part of this talk. So the first step is gratitude. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So gratitude, as you know, is just coming to a stage of being grateful. And then recognition. And recognition is really simple. It's God is. God is the only thing that is taking place in this moment and in every moment. God is. The next stage of prayer is unification. And that is, not only are we aware that God is, but we are one with that. We are one with that power and that presence that is within us. God is everywhere, and it is also within us. So we are one with that power and presence. And the next stage is the realization stage. And in the realization stage, what we're doing is we've become grateful. We're recognizing the presence of God everywhere. And then we're unifying with it to become a vibrational match to God, so that when we hit the realization stage, what we're doing is we're claiming everything that we wish to experience. We're claiming our good. We're naming and claiming that which we wish to experience, and that which is our right, the good pleasure that God has in giving it to us. It's already ours. There's nothing that actually has to be given. We just have to become awake to the fact that it's already here, and we have to clear that clutter and let it get out of the way so that we can more fully embrace that which God has in store for us, that which God is, which is us, which is who we are. It's our divine birthright. So that's what the realization stage is. And then the next stage is the Thanksgiving stage. And what the Thanksgiving stage is it is becoming, again, sort of coming back around to gratitude and becoming aware that everything has been given to us. We are in alignment with it now, and we give thanks for that which we have received in this time of prayer. So we become grateful once again, and we give thanks for that which we have received, the realization that we have received. And then the next stage is release. And release is pretty simple. Release is just letting go and becoming aware that we have released it to the law. And when we say the law of mind, the law of realizing it is done. It's over. It's done. We're finished with the prayer, and we don't come to the release stage until we're absolutely convinced. So sometimes I spend some time in the first couple of stages just making sure that I feel like I'm one with God. And then we hit the release stage, and it's already done. There's nothing else to be done here. We take our hands off of it. We release it to the law. We let it go, and that's it. We're finished. So those are the 6 stages of prayer. Now we're almost done. So I just want to go back to gratitude, the first stage. So I'm going to break down gratitude into 3 steps. Now, these are the tools that we have. So when you are gratitude is a practice. It's not only just the first step of prayer, but it's also a spiritual practice for us. And so the first stage of gratitude, it's a way of awakening. So in the first stage of gratitude, what you're doing is you're training yourself to be aware of all the good that you already possess, the things that you're aware of. I start off just sort of running through the things that I know I'm grateful for. I know I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful that I have electricity. I have glasses so that I can see and adjust them like this. I'm grateful for the water that I drink, the clean water that I drink. Think about how many countries don't have clean water to drink. I'm grateful for the water I drink, the clean water that I bathe with. I'm grateful for every bit of food in my fridge. I'm grateful that I am aware of how much money I have in my bank account. I'm grateful for every cent in my bank account. So I just run down the list of things that I'm grateful for, and there are so many. So that's the first stage of gratitude. Then the second stage, I call this the heavy lifting stage. So this is when you're grateful for the things that aren't going so well, or the challenges that you're experiencing in your life. And then just remember that everything is working together for our good, that we live in a friendly universe and everything is working together for our good. So the next stage is the heavy lifting stage, where we just get to the next level of gratitude, where it's like, I'm grateful for that disagreement that I had with my coworker, because it helped us to recognize that there was something that wasn't working in our office. And because of what we squabbled over or whatever, maybe there's another way for us to do this. Maybe there's another way that I can, do this in a more efficient way, or whatever it is, whatever that is. You can be grateful for the challenges that you have in your life. Then the last stage is the fruitage. It's the fruitage of all this. It's then when you come into a state of awareness where you are in a state of gratitude for no particular reason. You're just grateful to be grateful. You're grateful that the presence of spirit has given you another day on the planet. You're just grateful that you're praying. You could just get to a stage of gratitude where you're just grateful to be praying. You're grateful to go to God for God and God alone, and not to get anything. And by the way, of course, I'm assuming that but we're not here to get anything. We are here, first of all, to give of our gifts, and talents in this world. And then we're also here to just be, to circulate. And circulation is another aspect of, tithing is a principle of prosperity as well. So there's so much, and I could go on, and now I understand why people have entire workshops about prosperity, because there's so many different tools. Forgiveness is another tool that we want to forgive, and we want to forgive ourselves first and foremost for all that negative self-talk, just to circle around to the beginning of this, the negative self-talk, for the clutter that we haven't given away, for that pile in the corner that we're ignoring every time we walk past it. We want to be thankful for and forgive ourselves for our sense of self-worth if we've judged ourselves in the past. And we want to just recognize that and use the tool of consciousness and the tool of awareness to up-level that. So we want to use self-forgiveness, and all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. So I've just kind of rapid fire named off a bunch of things, but all of them have to do with prosperity, because what we're wanting to do is create an internal condition within ourselves so that we can experience the prosperous life that God has the good pleasure to give us. So did I miss anything? I don't know. I just kind of went bam, bam, bam through the whole thing. So we want to let's just practice the 5 stages of prayer. So first and foremost, we just want to be grateful. Grateful for the process of prayer, for the rest and the beauty of just coming together and being able to pray together. So let's just turn within. And let's just go to that place where we are so grateful and so thankful for the powerful presence of God, for the evidence of God that is joy And in my gratitude, I am feeling so much joy right now, so much joy overflowing as this talk, as this time together, as this holy communion. And I know absolutely that God is the only thing that's taking place right here and right now. I know that the powerful presence of God is the only activity in my life and in the life of each and every person here present within the sound of my voice. I know that the powerful presence of God makes itself known as each one of us individually and as the presence of God collectively. So here we are unifying. We are unifying and knowing that God is the only thing happening, and we are one with it, and it is one with us. We are cells in the body of God. We are drops in the ocean of devotion that is God. And then we move to recognition. We move to realization. We move to that place where we know absolutely that it's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So in this moment, I just name and claim a new recognition, a hot off the press realization where God knows itself as each one of us individually and as this church collectively, as this experience of congregations, as this experience of coming together and uplifting and supporting one another. So I know the flow of prosperity is taking place right here and right now. I know this movement of God upon itself as prosperity is taking place right here and right now. I am so firmly convinced of this. I am so convinced of this. I just know that I am grateful and thankful for the love of God that continues to express as the prosperity, as the fresh realization of prosperity in this day. So I just am so grateful for this opportunity to speak this word, to know this truth, to rest and to recognize that God is all that there is in this moment. So I release this word to the law. I know that it is so. I rest in it. And I say, and so it is. Amen. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Go out there, be prosperous and multiply and enjoy the presence of God as your life today. Thank you so much. Peace.
Let's go drifting through the trees. Let's go sailing on the sea. Let's go dancing on the juke joint floor and leave our troubles all behind and have a party so easily forgotten. The most important things, like the melody of the moonlight in your eyes and the song that lasts forever, keeps on getting better all the time. 'Cause life is beautiful, life is wondrous. Every star above is shining just for us. Life is beautiful on a stormy night. Somewhere in the world, the sun is shining bright. I get crazy.
You get crazy?
So afraid.
Oh no.
That I might lose you one fine day and I'll be nothing.
Nothing?
But a tired old man. And I don't want to be without you at the party.
Me too.
So easily forgotten. The most important thing is that I love you.
That I love you.
I do. And I want to spend my days and nights walking through this crazy world with you. 'Cause life is beautiful, life is wondrous. Every star above is shining just for us. Life is beautiful on a stormy night. Somewhere in the world, the sun is shining bright. Oh yeah. So easily forgotten. The most important thing is that I love you.
That I love you.
I do. And I wanna spend my days and nights walking through this crazy world with you.
Yes, Smitty.
'Cause life is beautiful, life is wondrous. Every star above is shining just for us. Life is beautiful on a stormy night. Somewhere in the world the sun is. Come on, blow that thing. Right on. That's my sun shining bright. Take us out. Yeah.
Well, you know, whenever I count my blessings, I always include our amazing music team. Smitty and Julia, thank you so much for that wonderful song. That truly reminds us how prosperous we are. And a shout out to Smitty's son, trumpeter Richard. And Reverend Christine, thank you so much for this wonderful lesson on prosperity. I know that everyone who watches, either live as we're broadcasting this on Zoom or later on a recording, they will be equally moved. Thank you. This is the time in our service where we give to the place that spiritually uplifts and nourishes us, Unity of Ventura. When we do so, we keep our channels of good open and flowing, and we keep the unity message going so that we can offer hope and spiritual sustenance to others as well. If you watched one of our recordings or our services before, you know you can go to our website and there's ways to donate. So I trust that you will be guided on how to do this. So, whatever methods you choose to give, whatever amounts you are guided to give, we are so very grateful for your support. So let's take a moment to turn to that place within where God indwells us, where we rest in that place of infinite abundance and love and peace. And as you rest in that presence of God, it's from that sacred space that I invite you to align with this statement. I give willingly, joyfully, lovingly. I give willingly, joyfully, lovingly. And as that statement resonates within you, please hold your gift in your hand or in your heart as we bless it with our offering blessing. I'll say it once, then ask you to repeat it with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I receive. So let's say that together, knowing this is truth. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I receive. Yes. And now, let us just shower blessings. Blessing the offering, sweet Spirit, knowing that they will be used in the will and the work of God through this ministry. What's more, we bless each giver, knowing that they have given to us from a place of loving kindness and generosity. We affirm that each giver is being richly blessed for sharing of their prosperity with us. And we see them blessed in turn in magical and wondrous ways. Thank you, dear God. Thank you for these gifts and the givers. And so it is. Amen. As we begin to close our service today, we extend great thanks once again to Reverend Christine Pena for her delightful lesson, to the Unity Band music team for the music that just uplifts us week in and week out, and to that technical wizardry of Smitty West, whose behind-the-scenes magic brings us these services each week. We especially thank each of you for being with us in mind and in heart. It would not be Unity of Ventura without you, so thank you. And if you or someone you know is in need of prayer support, please reach out. You can either call the church office and leave a message, or you can go to our website and leave a prayer, or you can just send a prayer, and the address is on your screen. Just know that if you or someone else is going through something, you don't have to do it alone. The prayer team is so honored to be able to hold that high watch for you, so please use them. And now we conclude our service by singing the peace song and saying the prayer for protection, and by inviting each of you to join us again next week. Until then, God bless you.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous love. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever wherever we are, God is, and all is well.